Hello, everyone. I've been waiting just a little bit to see who else might join this evening for my sharing with you. My name's Holly Menard, and I am coming to you from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, to share with you about a topic that is so important for every one of us. Are you struggling? Are you struggling because you're grieving? You're doing your best to try to keep up with the demands of the holiday, and you want to put your best self forth, right? And yet you feel overwhelmed. You feel like a hot mess. Yeah. And so when you experience a loss of any kind, and I'm going to say the loss of a loved one, that includes a pet, the loss of a relationship, the loss of your health. You may be living with a diagnosis that you just received or you've known for a while. And so you're reeling from all of that. It could be a marriage, it could be a job, it could be any number of losses. And when a loss occurs in your life, then grieving is what happens. And last week I shared a video on Unspoken Holiday Grief. This is a follow-up to that live, and I've entitled it Unspoken Grief Revisited. And when I chose that title, I realized what I wanted to do is briefly review that Unspoken Holiday Grief has two aspects to it. One of them being that we are solitary in our experience, and it's meant to be that way. And then there's the other kind, the unspoken grief, when we feel like we can't be ourselves, when we're out in public, whether it's a party, whether it's a family gathering, passing by people in the mall, however it might happen, and you feel like you can't be you. And who wants to feel that way? You've got enough going on. There's so much hustle and bustle going on during this time. So there are three practices that I have to share with you today. And equally important, self-care, self-compassion, and I'm going to share with you a practice that I found to be so helpful, and that is loving kindness. Yeah. So self-care is that time when you allow yourself to say, you know what, it's okay. It's okay that I'm a hot mess. It's okay to pay attention to yourself and what it is that you want and what you need, what you wish could be happening, even though it's not. You pay attention to that. You pay attention to whatever it is that you're experiencing, and you even want to give it a name. Yeah, and once you name it, then you can have a conversation with that feeling and allow it space to be there. Another practice that can be so helpful is to set aside 10 to 20 minutes, 10 at least, to allow yourself time to get away from the chaos of your mind, all the things that you have to do, all the things that make you feel like you want to crawl back into your bed and pull the covers over your head. Does that sound familiar? It was for me. Yeah. So what is that favorite thing? Maybe it's to take a nap. Yeah. Maybe it's to take a walk, get outside, change the energy that you've been kind of floating around in. Call a friend, a dear friend that you know will listen to you no matter what, and be unconditionally loving to you for that moment in time. You can go ahead and you can do that. Listen to music, read a book. This is all self-care. Yeah. And nobody else can do that for you. And you also want to think about anything that you feel an obligation about. When you feel like you have no choice, that you're going to be letting people down, ask yourself this question. Is it going to mean like an earth-shattering event is going to happen if you make the decision to say no? Just plain say no, I'm not up to it. It's not going to be fun for me. It's not going to be fun for anybody else. Just give yourself permission to say no. I promise you the world will not come to an end. And another thing before I move on to the next practice is, as much as possible, curb that urge that you might have to check in with the news. And if you feel like that is, you just have to, then limit it to like 5 minutes, no more than that. And I highly recommend that you do not listen to the news before you go to bed. You don't want that kind of information and the emotion attached to it floating around inside when you're trying to go to sleep. So that's self-care. And now moving on to self-compassion. Self-compassion is acknowledging your experience, and it's allowing yourself to be human. Because you know what? Suffering, pain, and imperfection are a part of being human. And when you're grieving, it's normal. It's normal, and it's normal for what you might think are abnormal feelings to come up to the surface. And then you can have that tendency, you're going to want to judge them and call it not okay. Not okay. And what I invite you to gift yourself with is to realize that this is a difficult time, and it doesn't matter whether it was that you experienced your loss recently or it could be years ago. It really doesn't matter. The holidays will heighten our grief because there's so many ways that we can be triggered. So when we show ourselves self-compassion, we allow ourselves to be human and to experience our experience. I can't emphasize that enough. Feel your feelings and resist the urge, the need to judge yourself. Even if somebody else is trying to talk you into going to some kind of an event, if you don't feel like it, no, just honor where you're coming from in your very much now and present experience. It's so, so, so important to do that. And you know what? We haven't learned that. You know, for some of you, this whole idea of going back to self-care could be like foreign. No, I can't do that. I have kids. I have friends I'm going to let down. I have my partner, my husband, whoever it might be, your colleagues at work. You feel like you're going to let them down. But you know what? The people who really love and care about you are going to want you to be good to yourself, to be compassionate, and to allow that time to settle in with whatever it is you're experiencing. And then make the decision as far as when you are ready to get dressed and walk out the door to participate in an event. You don't have to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes. You'll say something that you wish you hadn't said, perhaps. And it's okay. The people who love you will forgive you for that. So I want to stop and ask what y'all are experiencing right now. Please enter something in the comments. And full disclosure, this is my first time doing a live in this kind of way where people can comment. Share what it is that you're feeling. Share what it is that you may be struggling with, if you would. It would be helpful for everyone. And if you don't feel like that's something that you're ready to do, that's okay too. But you know what? Just chime in at any point in time, because I'm going to repeat it. We're not used to these kind of practices. We're not. We're just used to just sort of rolling so much, just kind of the default. You know, you just, I don't know, someone told me you just suck it up. And it's like, I could not hardly believe it after my son died. Now it's been 9 years ago. I couldn't believe that someone actually said that. Words are gonna maybe said like that. And it can hurt. It really can. But you know what? When you start practicing, and again, going back to the self-care, and just letting it be okay to say no. I don't want to leave the door, outside the door rather, and I don't want to stay in this conversation that's happening right now, if that happens to be the case. So just don't. Allow yourself to be human. Practice self-care and self-compassion. That's one of the greatest gifts that you can give yourself, I'm going to say. Yeah. And the last thing, and please do add any kind of comments along the way here, because this is also going to be something that a good number of you, maybe the majority of you, have not experienced before. And it's called it's called loving kindness. It's known as a loving kindness meditation. And I happen to refer to it as a practice because it's one of my practices. So here we go. I'll also post it right after this live so that you'll know just exactly how it is that it goes, okay? And I'm gonna kind of look to the side as well so that I'll make sure that I get each part of this straight. So Susan Strasberg is a well-known spiritual teacher. She's written so many books and she's given so many presentations. She's on YouTube. Susan Strasberg. Last name is spelled Strasberg. Yeah. And so she teaches us about loving kindness, that it's about opening ourselves up to others with compassion and a kind of an equanimity, a kind of a calmness. That's yet another practice. And it will require us to push. And she uses the word push. And I add to that, push beyond what it is that you're familiar with. Push beyond what it is that feels comfortable to you. And you'll notice a shift. I promise you. I promise you, when you practice this, you will notice a shift. All right. So are you ready? Do you have any questions? Does everybody understand? Basically, what it is that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sharing, let's see, 4 different statements. And the first 4 are going to start with I. Okay? And then we're going to repeat it again. And it's going to be you. So you reach out to someone else, perhaps someone that you feel very close to, and it feels okay, very, very comfortable for you to reach out to them in this way. And then the third time we do it, it's going to be, excuse me, somebody was messaging me outside of this. The third time it's going to be to the world. And I hope you find it as meaningful as it is for a lot of people, including me. So, are you ready for this? Let's go. All right. So, I'm going to go ahead and read through them, and then we'll read through them together. Sound good? Okay. So, may I be filled with loving kindness. May I be free from suffering and fear. May I accept myself and others completely. May I be happy. May I be at peace. So let's say it together, whether you're watching the recording or you're here with me live. May you be filled, may I be filled with loving kindness. May I be free from suffering and fear. May I accept myself and others completely. May I be happy. And may I be at peace. And the next part is to use the word you, the pronoun you. Okay? And we're going to go through those same statements again, just exactly the same, using the pronoun you. All right. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be free from suffering and fear. May you accept yourself and others completely. And may you be happy. May you be at peace. Yeah. And now the next time and the last time, we're going to speak these statements to everyone in the world. May the world be filled with loving kindness. May everyone be filled with loving kindness. May everyone be free from suffering and fear. May everyone accept themselves and others completely. May everyone be happy and be at peace. Yeah. So how was that? Was there any part of it that speaks to you? Was there any part of your experience that, yeah, just notice. It's okay whether you comment. Just notice whatever it is that you are experiencing. And I'll end with this, and that is, if you are finding yourself struggling, again, no matter how long it's been that you've been grieving a loss of any kind. And I might add also, I didn't say it earlier, but maybe you're grieving the loss of an experience that you wish that you had had in the past. It could go all the way back to your childhood. You may be grieving that. So if that is the case for you, and you would love to have some support, then please do reach out to me. I'm going to put my email address in here, wendulaholly@gmail. Whoop. Spell it right. Okay, wendulaholly@gmail. I think I got that right. Yeah. Or you can call me. And I would be happy to offer you a free 30-minute session to, allow you the time to speak what it is that's on your heart and what's standing in the way of what could potentially be a holiday where you're both experiencing this grief that may be intense, or maybe it's not as intense, but you're in it, and you would love to have some support. Reach out to me. Yeah. So self-care, give yourself time, 10 to 20 minutes a day. I highly recommend this. And acknowledge the fact that you're human, that you are suffering, you may be in pain, and you are imperfect, perfectly imperfect. And then practice this loving kindness meditation. And I really do believe that this will support you in a way that you may not understand right now. But take it from me. It's well worth your time. So thank you so much for being here during this time. I wish you the happiest holidays and precious moments with those that you love. You can have it all at the same time even. So goodbye for now. Until the next time.